Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday night. If you're viewing, get into the chat. Say hello. Can you hear me? The drum's okay. Same old, old. Hello. Who do we have here? Juicy Harp. Okay. All right, we're back. Everybody's back. Ed is back. Glutton for punishment. Okay. I'm just going to wait for a few minutes. I'm a little early. And we'll wait for the room to get a little populated. Hey, Ed, did you have any questions about today, this afternoon? Now's a good time to ask. The volume is okay. The video is okay. I'm assuming. I need your help, gentlemen. Juicy Harp, where are you from? Are you in any of the Facebook drumming groups or no? I have to kind of like organize this a little bit better because we're getting new people in here and they missed a couple of lessons, so they don't really get the benefit of what I'm doing tonight. But Juicy Harp, do you have the stick control book? Please say yes. Boston. Oh, good. That's a great town. A lot of great musicians come from Boston. The Berklee College of Music's there, and a lot of great musicians. I was just recently in Boston, right, Ed? And then we went to Quincy and had a good time. We went to Zildjian. And we're going to be going back up there soon. So maybe if you're in Boston and you want to come hang out with us at Zildjian for the day, that'd be cool as well. Okay, you do have the stick control book. And the bulk of my teaching is from the stick control book. I sleep with that book. It's the greatest book ever, in my opinion. There's some great drum books out there, but everything you really want to know and develop, what's that? Night. What does that mean? Right, okay, good. I'm sorry. I got to clean my glasses off. Okay. The stick control book. Paul, you're back. Great, man. How'd you like today's lesson, the 1 o'clock lesson? You get anything out of it? Because I'm going to go backwards a little bit for the first 5 or 10 minutes. We have a new gentleman here, Juicy Harp. He could tell me his name, and I'll address him that way. Juicy Harp doesn't sound, I mean, that's a good screen name, but I'd rather know your real name. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to work from the stick control book again. And I'm just, like I said, going backwards a little bit. We have the first line and the grid. But our interpretation of the first line is not eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We're going to consolidate both lines, both measures as one measure. So we're going to take it, instead of eighth notes, 16th notes. Now, for those, I mean, you understand the grid, Paul? Ed, I know you do. And all right, Bob. Okay, Bob, nice to meet you as well. All right. it's kind of hard reading the chat and talking, and I want to make everybody a part of this as opposed to, well, you're here, so listen and shut up. You know, I don't want to deal with that. But the stick control book, like I said, we're not going to, as written, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, we're going to take it as 16ths, 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and. Now, just for me, I can't assume, I'm just going to explain it again. Okay? The grid means to move over one. All right? And it's a four note increment. So if I'm doing 1E and that's 4 notes. So I'm going to play the downbeat. I'm just going to play the downbeat with my bass drum. 1, E, and the. Now, I'm going to go to the second part of the grid, which is going to be the E of 2. So I'm going to play 1 and 2. 1, E, and the 2, E, and the. Then I move it over 1 again on the third downbeat, which now falls on the and. So it would be 3, E, and the. And then the 4, E, and the, it's going to fall on the the. 4, E, and the. Now, a good way to feel this is just to maybe clap. Count and clap. 1, E, and the. 2, I'm sorry, oh boy. 1, E, and the. 2, E, and the. 3, E, and the. 4, E, and the. A little faster. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the 1 E and the. You see how I'm counting and I'm shifting over every time I hit one count or one note. And that's what we're going to do with the stick control book. Okay? We're going to take the first part of the grid, which is the downbeat, on 1, 2, 3, 4. So every time I come to a right on the downbeat or the left on the downbeat, it's going to be my bottom. So the first line is a right on 1. So I have 1. All right. Then I'm going to follow the sticking pattern. 1, E, and the. 2, E, and the. 3, E, and the. 4, E, and the. You understand that so far, Bob? Now we're going to move to the second part of the grid, which is now moved over to the E. But however, the E, how you doing, Michael? I hope you're feeling better. The E now is the part of the grid. But on the E, we have the left. So we have 1 E and the, 2 E and the, 3 E and the, 4 E and the, so on and so forth. That's how I'm interpreting that particular line. Every time I have a right or it falls on part of the grid, it's the bass drum. Every time I have a left and it falls on the grid, it becomes the hi-hat. Okay? Now, here we go. I'm just going to, this afternoon it was a little bit different than last week because there's a good way to enter this. And I'm not going to put the metronome at the moment. I'm going to give you a variety of tempos. We're going to do one measure of the line as written, like 1 E and 2 E and E and 4 E and then we're going to play the first part of the grid. Let me keep going over that and over that and over that until you feel comfortable. Here we go. I'm going to turn my traditional. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it don't sound like anything there, but you're training yourself to control your limbs. You say, yo, 1, that's what you do. E and that's what you do. You're following that sticking pattern. Now we're going to do the same thing with line 2. I'm going to first play the line as we interpreted 1 E and then I'm going to go into the second part of the grid, which now becomes the E. So we have, starting with the left, we have 1 E and 2 E and E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3E. We should be, yeah, no, I'm sorry, I'm lying too. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. This gets really, listening to everybody talk here and trying to see who's in here. I apologize. We're still on line 1. We're on the E. So we have 1E and 2. Sorry. And 4E and so we play the line. And then we go to the second part of the grid. And I do apologize again. 1E and 2E, 3E and 4E and 1E and 2 and 3 and 4 and so on and so forth. Now, do we understand this? So I don't have to keep going over that. I want to take it to another platform. And I want to use the metronome. I have the metronome set at 60. I'm going to try it at 72. Makes a little bit more sense there. So that's the tempo, that's the downbeat, okay? So now we have 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 4. Here we go. Now you hang out there until you get it going on. Now we go to the second line. The second part of the grid, excuse me. Oh boy, does this get confusing. So now we're on the E. Remember 1E and Now let's put in tempo. 1E and the 2E and the 3. It's going to be hard. Please tell me you didn't hear the metronome because that was right on it. Okay? That was right on it. So now we're just developing. Let me turn the metronome off. I don't want to go through the whole thing. Now, come on, metronome. Now, for instructional reasons, I'm just doing it like this on the 3 sounds or the 3 surfaces. It's linear. But now, you're not going to be just contained. You have to be creative. And I could sit here and explain you could do it this way, you can do it that way. And as long as you follow and maintain the sticking pattern and the what do you want to call it? The concept or the system, you're going to be okay. I could play, for example, the first line. I'm going to just give you an example. If I'm going 1, E, and I don't have to be contained just on the snare. So I have 1, E, and 2, E, and I build it up on the metronome. Or I can get 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and it becomes something entirely different. Different voices, different colors, so to speak, or if that's what you want to call it. And, you're going to develop it. Like I said this afternoon, we're going to take this to another platform next week. I'm going to mix up the sticking patterns, but I'm going to maintain the grid. And we're going to start playing some funk. All that good stuff. So we're going to get kind of funky. But for you to control this is the first step. Okay? It's on the 3 sounds. 1, E, and. Okay, that's what you want to do. We understand that, gentlemen. Okay, that's where we're going to go with this starting next week. But now, it's just very advisable to stay with this and use the metronome. You have to say, for example, line 3. I'm going to do line 3. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the line as written first, then I'm going to implement the first part of the grid. Then I'm going to play the measure again and go to the second part of the grid, then the third part, the fourth part. All right, you guys are doing real good. I better start practicing here. So line 3, it's written 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Now remember the system on the 1. the E, the and the duh. If it's the right, boom, it's the bass drum. If it's the left, boom, it's the snare drum. So now, let's take line 3, nice and slow on 3 sounds. 1, E, all right. 1, E, and 2, E, and. Simple. So now, work it like this. I'm going to slow this one down a little bit so you can see it and actually hear it. So I'm going to bring it back down to 60. I mean, I don't want to play no senior citizen grooves or tempos, but this is for instructional reasons. So we're going to do line 3, and we're going to do the first part of the grid. I'm going to play the first measure, the first time through as written, and then I'm going to put the grid in there on the 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 1 E and the 2 and 3, zap. Ah. Let me get the groove. 60 sucks. 3, 4. 1 E and 2 and 3. Here we go. 4. Just move it up a little bit. I don't like that tempo. Oh, putting me to sleep. Let's go to 72 again. Now, some of these really happen. Some just don't. But it's the ones that don't, you should spend some time with and be creative. So now, we're going to do the first part. That's 1 E and 2. 1 E and 2. 3, 4. At 72, here we go. So we're going to do the line first. Oh, come on. There you go. 1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Line first. I got off a little bit there, but I'm going to do the line, then the first part of the grid. Okay, line 1, line 3. Okay, now we're going to go to the second part of the grid, which falls on the E. Play the line. It's going to be like this, just a part of the grid. So we play the line in that part of the grid. Ah, come on, drums. I'm not playing it in order, but to do it slow first, play the line as written, and then implement the groove, the grid. The third part of the grid now would be on the and. All right, so now it's going to fall on the left foot. So we have 1 E, we have 1 E and 1 E and 1 E, 1 E and 2 E. We understand that, then the duh. Like I said, I'm going to make up some patterns that we're going to take apart and have a great old time. Everybody teaches linearly. 1, 2, like. You know, what is that? It's a physical, how fast you can play something, which means to me absolutely nothing. I need to control and understand what I'm doing so I can put it into the music that I'm playing. And even Mike Clark and I, if you remember Mike Clark doing a few lessons for me and being online live, he said the same thing, man. Everybody don't really want to learn. They want instant mashed potatoes, instant success. You got to practice this. And like I said this afternoon, it's like if you put grass seed out there to grow and you don't water it, it ain't going to go nowhere. So the grass seed being the pattern and the water being you practicing. It's a simple process. So far, do we all understand what we're doing here? Now, I don't want to get too overwhelming, but I just want to come give you some like a preview of what's to come. Do we understand this? Do we have a practicing procedure with this? The first thing I would highly recommend is no metronome. Feel it. Then challenge it and put it into the metronome. Okay, so now, if we take, besides the grid, you know, 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 4E and the 1, that's cool. But what we're going to do, we're going to start using the biome with a clave. The samba don't sound too cool with this kind of stuff, all right? We just might do it. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how it works. But the biome, everybody knows what the biome is. You know, when I first started doing these live lessons, I learned a lot from everybody, constantly. And I had this one drummer from Australia. And Australia's time zone is like they're a day ahead, and if it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it might be 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't know exactly what it is, but the biome, he told me, was half a clave. If I did the clave, the 3-2 clave, 1E and the 2 and 3, yeah, 1E and the 2 and 3 and 4, 1E and the 2, boom, ga. The biome is actually half it, 1E and the 2 and. So we're going to start doing some patterns with that, with the bottom, okay? And we're going to distribute the biome and the clave, we'll try, between the bass drum and the hi-hat. And that's going to get funky, especially the biome. It's going to be some very interesting lessons coming up, and a lot of writing I'm going to have to do, and a lot of practicing. This stuff is not easy. And the gentlemen that are in here, you're new, Bob, so I really don't know about you, but the gentlemen that are here right now are kind of advanced. So it's like I'm not showing this is how you hold the right stick and this is a full stroke. All right, I'm sure I'm going to be doing lessons again like that to go revisit all these things, and you know, just to make sure, just to give you an idea. Maybe you're not certain, or maybe you think doing something that, you know, oh Jesus, I didn't know that was supposed to be like that kind of thing. You know, I'm trying to help everybody. You want to grow and grow in a positive way. You don't want to create a bad habit, because a bad habit is going to be a problem for you. It's very difficult to break a bad habit. Anyway, that's the stuff that we're going to be starting to work on. And we're going to take the syncopation book as well. We're going to work on the syncopation book. That's where I'm going to get a lot of different sticking patterns, because you've always heard me mention that the syncopation book is the stick control book. See, the stick control book is my primary source. It should be everybody's primary source. Bob, do you have master studies? Do you have the level system book? Do you have all the Chaffee books? Master studies again, you have them? Gary Chaffee, is he still in Boston? I think he's in Connecticut now. He retired, but he came out of retirement because he was in demand as a teacher. Great teacher, great player, and he's put out some great students. All right, so from this point, is there any questions, gentlemen? Now, I won't be back Friday at 1 p.m. Okay. You don't have those books, Bob? The stick control book, the master studies, or the pattern series by Gary Chaffee, the syncopation book, the level system? You don't have those books? If you're going to continue to view these lessons, I'm going to be giving like a lot of lessons from master studies, from a lot of the time functions. That's the pattern series. Are you familiar with that? Well, there's such a delay. I ask a question and don't get to you for like 5 seconds, and then you come back and I forgot what I asked you. Boy, oh boy. We all know what the Bayonne is. One in, that two, and as the clave. Oh, okay. Well, you don't want me to sing on a gig, you get fired. And it's very difficult to sing and play drums at the same time. I don't really know how those guys really do it. They just play the money beat and they play the tune. They sing the tune. That's not easy. It takes a tremendous amount of concentration. All right, there's 7 people viewing this right now. That's what it's telling me. And there's only like 4 of you in the chat. Hey, Michael Lewis, you have any questions on this? Now, I'm going to continue on this come Friday night. So practice it. Get the metronome going on. Okay? Take it like I said. Let me go backwards a little bit again and take line 1. Play. We're going to take it like this. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. That's the second one. 3, 2, 3. Then the line. 2. Here you go. I'm sorry. 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2. Again. So on and so forth. Well, it's a combination. You want to get your chops back. Well, that's okay. There's only one thing that really gets your chops back. Everybody says practice rudiments. Well, what's a rudiment? There's 3 rudiments: singles, doubles, and flams. And everything else is a combination of them. They call them hybrid. Okay? The best thing I would recommend to practice is the stick control book, at least the first page every day. Doing it in full strokes, half strokes, quarter strokes. Whether you hold the sticks traditional or you hold them German or French or whatever the way you want to hold them. What works for you the best is what you should do. But I would recommend the stick control book and with the metronome and the vamping. See, that's another thing that I don't think you understand. Okay, it's so hard, man. You know what, Bob? There's a lot of videos here on YouTube of mine. You should kind of like watch them. Like the way George Lawrence Stone intended the stick control book to be played with the vamp. That'll get your chops, man. That'll get your chops and your mind, because it's coming from your mind first and bringing it out to your hands. So your mind has to be right on it. Understand what you're doing, because that's how your hands are producing what your mind is thinking. Who's this guy? Okay, hold it. Okay. Well, if that's great, man. That's Born Daniel. Is that your real name? And where are you from? Okay. What this is, you know what? If you said recovering from being disabled, you don't have to publicize it. But when you say disabled, did you lose a limb, or perhaps a stroke or a heart attack? I don't know. And you played for many years and you retired and getting back into it. There's nothing like in my opinion, of course, drumming, but you can never retire from being a musician. It's always there in your mind. There's the mental practice, And that's what controls your playing. Your concept comes from your mind. Your chops come from your mind. Yeah, there's the physical aspect, so you have to tune them up, your chops and your mind. And yeah, getting back into it, man. After all these years, it, it- you know, when I studied with Joe Morello, we talked about a lot of different drummers, and Joe was just a very mellow, laid back kind of guy. He never said anything bad about anyone. Well, maybe one or two guys, but that's beside the point. He's honest and he was truthful. Okay, so what he did say is Gene Krupa was from Yonkers, New York. He was living in Yonkers, New York, and he was laid, not laid. He was kind of sick towards the end of his life. He had leukemia, and he was trying to get his chops back. And he went to see Joe Morello, and Joe loved Gene Krupa, and he said, "Man, it's just when you lose your chops, it's so hard to get them back because you have the element of age. You're not 18 no more. You might be 65, 70, but the chops will come. They will come back if you gear yourself correctly. Not a problem. My chops are always down. I've been writing and networking and teaching and not practicing, to be honest with you. So what you got to do uh, is make a daily habit or put that, as a daily routine, at least an hour a day just on your hands. But you have to do the hand technique correctly. You have to follow the laws of physics. If you don't, you're not going to go anywhere. I don't know what your background is. I know we had two new people here. We have Bob, and what is your real name there, Born Daniel? Is it Daniel? You're 64. You're a kid. Jesus. Okay, I should advertise maybe because there's a lot of older guys in here. Drum lessons for seniors. Just joking. Actually, the older you get, the more you have a thirst for knowledge because of all your past experiences. But anyway, uh, you come back, Daniel. You come back. And if I can help you in any way to gear you to get on the correct road and don't waste your time practicing incorrectly, because there is a right and there is a wrong. If you feed your bad habit, it's not going to go away. You have to correct it. And I will do a few one surface. Mike, what is that na for? The senior citizen joke. Just kidding. Just kidding. I'm probably the oldest guy here. And I'm not a senior, I'm a kid. I intend to live to 120. I hope. Huh. Well, sort of. Anyway, I will be back Friday evening, 8:30. Please, whoever's in here, come. All right. One thing I didn't say, for the newer people that are here, if you would like the PDFs on this series of lessons, email me, and I'm going to put my email in there, and we can take it from there, okay? Okay, here we go. So if you want the PDFs, and I'm assuming, Daniel, you can. Hey, Mike, what's the difference, Mike? Yeah, I'm like I said, uh, I'm 72 years old. I'm not a senior. I'm a kid. But I'm just joking, man, having a good time, making the situation relaxed. If you want the PDFs and you want to get on my mailing list and get an email from me every couple of days, what's on the agenda for the week and the times and the places where the lessons will be broadcast, email me. I'll be more than happy to send you what you need and to help you as much as I possibly can. Okay, gentlemen, I need to close it down because it's after 9. But I will be back Friday, not 1 p.m., but only 8:30. And then next week we're going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 1 p.m., I hope. Because things do come up, and I try the best I can. And only 8:30 on Monday and Wednesday. Okay? No questions. Everybody understands it. Anybody wants the PDFs, email me. Ed, you're quiet. You're welcome, Bob. My pleasure, and welcome to the show, I guess. I try my best to help. All right. Hey, Ed, do you like this kind of stuff? You're the one that really got me crazy. I geared myself. I stayed away from everything except, all the ways to do the stick control book. And like I tell you, I got about thousands of ways to do it. But I don't want to overwhelm everybody. We have to take step by step by step. Okay? You like it. And it's more to come. We're going to get funky next week. We're going to take a pattern and follow the rules. And it's going to be mechanical until you feel it. And then you can make your own up, as long as you follow the rules. And then we'll introduce the Bayonne, perhaps, or maybe the clave. I'm not certain yet. Let's take a little step at a time. Okay, where did Paul go? He left? Paul, you're being quiet. Where are you? Paul, you still here? All right, I'm going to see everybody Friday evening if you want to come back at 8:30. And then next week we're going to do, what's this? Well, which one is that? The four-way coordination, Elliot Fine and Marvin Dahlgren? Love that book. It's very challenging. I hung out with that book maybe 30 years ago. Okay, Paul. And the teacher I was studying with, I don't want to mention his name, the guy was a beautiful guy, taught me a lot, taught me how to read well. He made a comment about Marvin Dahlgren and Elliot Fine. The book is amazing, and it's helped you, and it's being very creative, and inspired me to do a lot from stick control with their concepts. But he made the comment, well, he opened the book because he didn't know how to play it. That's the reason why I understand now that you need to play xylophones in order to play that. And that's when drum notation, that's the Adler system. That's when drum notation was just on the one line. And then who really was a pioneer in changing that was Jim Chapin. And then from there, it's where we are today with the key. This is the bass drum. This is the hi-hat. This is the ride cymbal, so on and so forth. But, we're all growing. We never stop. And we talked about senior citizens. When you stop growing, you die. Okay, I got that New York accent going on today or tonight. But thank you, gentlemen, for stopping by. Hope this has been helpful. Continue. Practice what I kind of, take it slow, one line at a time. Then use your own imagination and be creative as long as you follow the system. Because I'm going to come up with some tricky things next week, and we're going to do them slow. Okay? So, with that being said, I'm going outside to have a cigarette, and then I'm going to have my dinner and sleep. I've been up since 4 o'clock. So, gentlemen, have a good evening, the rest of the evening, and we'll see everybody Friday. Take care.